Heyo, we are back from summer break. Heat in that call. New look, same heroes. And we got so much to get into, get you caught up as training camp kicks off across the league. Sessy, are you ready?
I am prepared. I am excited. I'm very serious about this. Season 2, baby. Let's roll.
Let's go. Hi, hello, and welcome. We're Heat in the Call. Season 2. Dan Hanzus here with Marc Sessler. Justin Graver on the ones and twos. And yes, new look, new opening, but same bros. We're going to workshop that one. What's up, Sessy? Welcome back.
Good to see you again. I hope you had a great summer. We've got a whole fresh viewpoint and look here. I'm excited about season 2. They say the sequel sometimes doesn't match the original. I hope that we can absolutely obliterate that concept this season.
We're going for the Godfather Part 2 and not Gladiator 2. That's kind of the goal here, and we'll see if we could pull it off. And yeah, we have the new look for the show, and I have a new background here, as everyone can see. You do not, Mark. I think. Well,
that only magnifies what you've done. That's why I kind of
put it on the radar a little bit that I was getting a new background. I was going to work on it during our break. I know, of course, Justin has the rich mahogany behind him. So consider this kind of like, have you ever had that moment where your wife or whatever, and it's your anniversary, is like we exchange gifts, and then this certainly is not coming from real life experience. Like she gives you a pair of gym shorts or something, and like and a new pair of like sneakers, running sneakers or something. It's like, is that a hint? Am I a human bomb?
I had a wide variety
Consider
of
this the gym shorts, brand new.
No, that's nice. I would say that in my marriage experience, there were a wide variety of experiences there, and it may be including touching on what you're discussing to some degree. I also knew that when you asked to log on a little early to test run your background, I knew this conversation would be coming up quickly. That like we're going to silently be judging Mark's background. I think it's a beautiful. Also, you need to see the room I'm dealing with here is not allowing me. I know immense landscape.
I'm in a garage, Mark. You have yours is, I call it insane asylum chic, where because you had good behavior, they let you hang up some shit you found.
Okay, it's not unfair.
All right, without further ado, we got a lot to get to because we got a lot to catch up on, of course, as it's been a few weeks since our last show. Let's welcome in the legend, who we could not come back. He was on the part of our first show, season 1. Now, first show, season 2. Hit it, gravy.
Are you kidding me? What's he gonna say today?
Oh, what's up, Con Man? Conor Orr,
Hey.
Sports Illustrated, and all things in between. Area man, Central New Jersey.
When we did this last year and I was on the first episode, the best case scenario for trajectory was like the bipolar brother in Ozarks, where I can make it through like 10 episodes before I get shot in the face in front of a diner. But the fact that I'm here for season 2 this is great. I feel good.
We picked up your option, put it that way. And yes, it's great to be all back together. It always happens whenever we take some time off. It reminds me how much I love doing this and how lucky we are to have this job. And sometimes it feels like a job, but sometimes it feels like, oh wow, I'm just talking with my buds. And that's how I feel right now. And at the same time, I don't feel like we missed a lot, Con Man. And I respect everyone that powered through the early weeks of July in their respective podcasts. But do I need like a top 10 countdown of interior linemen with the nicest calves? Do I need like Greeny telling me about like sharing his worst jet memories that interrupted wine and cheese parties on Long Island? Like, don't need any of it, really. It's non-essential. But now training camp's back. And that means we're back, and it's time to dig in.
You need that separation to have life experiences that then color the upcoming season. And a lot of highs and a lot of lows over the last two weeks, but all of it I'm bringing here to the table. So
I noticed some incredible photos, Dan, of your trip east. One of you driving a boat, very masculine, very manly Instagram image there. And so that's the kind of experiences we feed off of before we return to the fray.
Absolutely, Mark. Yes, my travels have concluded. We are back here in Southern California, you and I at least, and now it's time to dive in. Let's hit some news.
Of all of the people that I've sat down with as a player, of all the players that I've ever negotiated with, Michael Parsons is as savvy and knowledgeable and understanding of his financial business relative to football as any player I've ever been around.
Did he say Michael Parcel?
I would believe so.
That's not a great sign. I was going to say, as we celebrate the kickoff of a new season with training camp here, as he began his speech from that, now iconic dais at Jerry World or the Star, how many more do we get of these? How many more of these Jerry speeches? And then I see something like that, and it's kind of like the first Biden debate, and I'm like, oh, is this going to be? How many do we get? This might be the last one. We might have already watched the last one because he just called Micah Parsons Michael Parson.
Yeah, I've come full circle on Jerry, where I used to. Back in the day, when we were allowed to write anything we wanted to on .com, I would rip into him 7 times a year. But I've come around where his voice just brings me comfort, and I feel like this guy's been talking to me or at me for 5 decades at this point. So he's like an old grandfather.
I think it just represents a very non-threatening tone to the rest of the NFL too, because the more he does this, the further Dallas gets away from winning anything or accomplishing anything in a serious way. And the part of the press conference that I really clocked was how he was talking about his acting skills and dissing John Hamm, not even mentioning John Hamm by name. And
who he shared that scene with, right?
It's proof of concept that this whole thing is just about him and has always been. And the Dallas Cowboys are no closer to actually winning a Super Bowl in the capped era. So it's thrilling. For
I don't know if you guys have noticed it, but I've seen it. I try to unplug a little bit during our break, but keep an eye out on things. And then you plug in as we lead up to this show. The questions around the Cowboys, because it's been so long now, it's 2025 now, and the Cowboys have not been to the NFC title game since Wonderwall was on the charts. So it's now almost become a defining trait of the organization is you guys haven't been special in an entire generation. So I've seen multiple star players be interviewed about that specifically and the idea of bringing the Cowboys back to greatness. Will this be the year? We'll get to a little more with Garrett later, and also all the other, drama around contracts that are unsigned, Parsons being one of them. But one that did get done was someone in Parsons' orbit, Michael Parson. Was that his name? His name is TJ Watt.
Michael Parson.
That's really bad. It's not even close. A problem. It's an issue. If I'm a Cowboys fan and I call arguably the second most important person on the team and a guy who's been a superstar there for 5 years by a totally different name, it's a bit of a red flag.
Michael Parson.
TJ Watt, let's get into it. The Steelers and the great pass rusher have agreed to a 3-year extension that makes him the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. That's the second time that's happened with Watt. He turns 31 in October. It's a 3-year, $123 million extension. This happened last Thursday, and it ends a contract negotiation that was not always pleasant, but at the end, it's a very pleasant situation for Watt, who gets $108 million guaranteed. And Sessy, I don't think anyone's surprised by this. The Steelers, I think there's a bit of a disconnect between where the Steelers think they are right now, which is on the precipice of Super Bowl contention, and the rest of us are this feels a little 9-80 still to us. But if they do indeed believe with Aaron Rodgers they're going to make a run this year, they were never going to trade TJ Watt. And in general, the Steelers are not a team that are in the business of getting rid of their kind of legacy players, and Watt has absolutely become that over the last decade.
Yeah, I think it would have been fairly shocking for this to end up in any other way than it has. And with most of these contracts, I just assume they're going to get done at some point. There was this one little moment in this very kind of weird, slightly weird offseason for Pittsburgh and how we view them, that I wondered if they never got Aaron Rodgers and had no quarterback. Do you ever entertain kind of blowing it up more deeply? And could TJ Watt have ever been moved in a different parallel universe this offseason? I think the minute the Rodgers thing happened, like this was locked in, and they view themselves as a playoff team, no doubt. And probably where we separate that from reality is like winning a playoff game or two does not feel like this Steelers team to me.
Judging how long Pittsburgh, and at behest of ownership, because Ben Roethlisberger had said this, how long Ben Roethlisberger was allowed to play fantasy camp as a quarterback, far beyond his prime, was the indicative factor in terms of they were always going to bring TJ Watt back. I could make the argument probably pretty successfully that Watt is a more valuable player than Roethlisberger was, maybe even at the height of his prime, to Pittsburgh, and I think is probably going to end up more emblematic of that franchise and their style of football. And we laughed about it at the time. We laughed about it when the trade rumors surfaced, and we can laugh about it now. This was never going to happen. He was always going to sign that contract.
In other contract news, the Jets, they pay their two young stars. Once upon a time, Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner were reigning rookies of the year, and the Jets have not found any success during their runs with the team, but the Jets decided under new leadership that Wilson and Gardner are part of a solution that ends their 14-year playoff drought. Who's counting? Garrett Wilson gets a 4-year, $130 million extension. That includes $90 million guaranteed. Sauce gets 4 years, $120.4 million, including $60 guaranteed. That makes him the highest paid cornerback in NFL history. There is some, as always, some funny money involved here. I believe Florio over PFT wrote about the Sauce Gardner deal and how, while by the final number it's the biggest, Stingley and Houston actually had probably a better contract in many respects. And I wonder if Sauce, having a somewhat down year by his standards in 2024, slightly deflated his value, which ends up working out in the Jets' favor if he bounces back and becomes the player he was his first two NFL seasons, which I think he will. And there is an optimistic streak in me. It's a sadistic streak that I can't get rid of, that I hope the Jets are figuring it out. I really loved that they got these deals done. The timing of them, that they didn't have to do them now, but they got ahead of it. And also the message it sends to the locker room that these are the dogs that we believe are going to take us out of this long time sludge we've been in. And we're showing it with money. So they're going to report to camp and they're going to be in good spirits. And in general, positive vibes are so important around this organization, Connor.
Yeah, two things. I think not getting Garrett Wilson outside of that leapfrog game of highest paid wide receiver was huge, especially after the Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson contracts. You're playing a different game and you're not sacrificing a lot of long-term cap flexibility. And let's not forget, these were the two players who were organically growing into leadership roles before this entire thing got stuck in a toaster oven, right? And their voices kind of got muzzled a little bit, and other players got brought in, and vets, and all this complicated stuff. And so I think returning the team to its natural growth state, which it was in, and it was in a healthy spot, is great across the board, and just great contract work too by the GM. I mean, this is exactly what you'd want out of the start of a new regime.
And the GM, Darren Waller, one of the whispers coming out this week are that the team, the organization is, and we've seen it, more proactive. And these holdouts that last with certain players on certain teams for multiple, or like the contract stalemate that go on for multiple off seasons, like, you lock these guys up as quick as possible. Both of these contracts will look great a couple years from now. And you want to believe that this happened because of Aaron Glenn, because of the GM, because these were guys that, a calendar year ago didn't seem like they wanted to be on this team the same way they do right now. So it does, I'm always speculative of this, but it feels like the Jets are doing things in a wiser fashion. It's hard to do things less wisely than they were before, but like I think it's the people involved.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're going to talk about the Cowboys in a bit and how they continually put themselves in the same position of waiting too long to sign their superstars and then being held hostage in negotiations. And it just seems to stilt the team building here. So the Jets getting them in front of it, it's a smart move. And yeah, the Glenn thing, I had this conversation with my dad actually on the Jersey Shore a couple days ago, and which was beautiful, Conor. Just again, kudos to you and all your people.
No problem.
You know, we don't know if Aaron Glenn's going to be good. We don't know. Like, just like any team, you hire a hotshot coordinator and then you cross your fingers and hope that he wasn't over promoted. I like the Robert Saleh move when it happened, and he looked the part and he had plenty of success in San Francisco. And then it kind of became clear, even with the dysfunction around him, it became pretty clear to me and a lot of other Jets fans, and eventually, obviously, the Jets, that he wasn't the right guy. And I bet he'll thrive back in San Francisco now as the DC. We don't know if Glenn is going to get it in the big chair, but I like the culture vibe. I still love that story that he sat down with Aaron Rodgers and within 10 minutes was like, you're out of here, dude. Like, you're not. It's like if you dated pop culture reference, but great movie, Roadhouse, when Swayze gets hired to clean up the Double Deuce, and immediately he just starts shit canning the drug dealer and the guy that's stealing from the till and the other guy that's skipping work. And
So consider it severance pay. Take the train.
like it just seems like they're cleaning things up. So Woody, stay the out of the way and let them do their job, and maybe, just maybe, this will be the year.
This is Eagles-like. This is Lions-like. This is locking up your young players before they become massive liabilities financially. It's a great move. This is what we've been asking teams to do for a long time, and only the best teams have been doing it.
And let me catch
We're
up
the
by
freaking
saying
New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
this will be the year. By that, I mean maybe not lose 11 to 14 games and make Dan suicidal by Thanksgiving. That's all
Right.
I mean.
That's the bar. That's where the bar is at. Correct.
That's where the bar is not only on the floor, it's sunk into, there's like a quicksand, like an Amazon jungle quicksand. We're just trying to pull the bar out from the earth itself. Anyway.
Okay.
All right, the Chiefs. Now there's a team to respect how they do their business. There's a reason why they've been to 3 straight Super Bowls. They know how to build around their star players. Trey Smith, the guard, has re-signed a 4-year, $94 million contract, $70 million in guarantees. This was just ahead of the deadline for franchise tagged players to sign deals that has now since passed. He's the highest paid guard in NFL history. So that offensive line, which was exposed, among a lot of things were exposed by the Eagles in the Super Bowl, but the line got the clown suit put on it in that game. But obviously Smith is a key player and they keep him around. Also staying around is George Karlaftis, who extended on a 4-year, $88 million extension, max value of $93 million in new money. And another example, Conor, Karlaftis is a guy that they drafted. Why do the Chiefs? Everybody gets pissed at the Chiefs because they always get the breaks and they're always playing in the end of January and early February. But it's the drafting and the development of players, and Karlaftis is a perfect example.
Again, when they won their Super Bowls, they had to kind of pick and choose, and they had to trade, and they had to maybe do some unsavory stuff to get after the passer with Frank Clark, and that was a move that not a lot of people were thrilled about at the time. But they pivoted to this organic movement, which has been really the driving force behind the phase 2 of the Mahomes era. And you have homegrown offensive line, you have homegrown protection, you have homegrown weapons now, and now you have a homegrown pass rush. This is the only way that the Mahomes era takes it another step and makes it into its another level. And so I think hitting on a pass rusher, I mean, what could be better?
It's almost as if you keep the same coaching staff and front office around for eons, that it starts to show results in the NFL. I mean, where every other team is spastically running through regimes. It's an interesting season, though, for the Chiefs, in my opinion, because they've been able to trounce that division for years. And I look at all 3 teams, the Chargers, Broncos, and Raiders, as improved foes at this point, and teams that now seem to have a vision of their own versus wandering in the wilderness. So you got a Chiefs team that's played like immensely more football over the last 4 or 5 years, almost 20 more games than other teams. In a division with young quarterbacks and competitive coaches, like AFC West will be a little bit more of a dogfight, and it's like the next phase of the Chiefs just having to deal with that, survive, and thrive.
Great point, Mark. So great to hear you.
Thank you.
And just look at you.
I'm assuming that you mean that sincerely, but
I do. You mentioned the continuity and how that's helped the Chiefs. There is some fortuity as well with their continuity, right? When you look at, first of all, the advantage of having a head coach who's also kind of your offensive architect. So you're never going to lose your play caller. Okay. So Andy's there. And then in Spags, they have this guy who's like a Hall of Fame level defensive coordinator who bombed out as a head coach and then I guess aged out of getting another gig. So they've never had to worry about losing him. I mean, it's such a huge advantage. And I'm watching, we're going to talk about it later this week because Quarterbacks came back on Netflix and I thought it was an awesome ride. I just finished it yesterday and I was checking out the Lions coaching staff and Ben Johnson and Jared Goff's vibes together. And of course, Aaron Glenn, who doesn't show up in that, but obviously he is now with the Jets and the challenges that a contender like Detroit faces and all teams that kind of begin their rise against the Chiefs who have been able to kind of sneak through that a little bit and maybe underplayed a little bit, Conor, when we talk about the run that the Chiefs have been on for a decade now is having that continuity that other great teams don't get that benefit.
It's a next level problem, but it shows foresight on behalf of Andy Reid. And you actually saw Kyle Shanahan start doing that after every year he started getting gutted and gutted and gutted again. And then you do things like, okay, I'm going to bring in Brian Griese from Monday Night Football because I can teach him what I think he needs to know. And the chances that he ends up rising up to OC and then play caller and then leaving to go somewhere else are probably a little bit slimmer given his age and all that kind of stuff. And so you see coaches who are getting routinely gutted start thinking that way because behind the scenes, losing guys and the competition for keeping your best assistant coaches is cutthroat. It's breakneck. It's one of the grosser parts of our business. So to be able to understand that, to know that these guys will come back is gigantic.
All right, let's stop right there. Those are deals that got done. Let's take a break. When we get back, business that has not been settled and the chaos that may cause. All right, stay right there. We're back, baby.
All right, this episode of Heed the Call with Dan Hanzus and Marc Sessler is brought to you by BetterHelp. Dan, have you ever been stressed out at work?
Me? No, not personally.
Not you. Well, you are resilient. Did you know, though, that workplace stress is now one of the top causes of declining mental health, with 61% of the global workforce experiencing higher than normal levels of stress? To battle stress, most of us can't wave goodbye to work, but we can start small with a focus on wellness. Some ways to relieve that stress are stepping outside for some sunlight and fresh air, taking a few minutes to stretch, or listening to music. These are great techniques, but don't forget that therapy can help you navigate whatever challenges the workday or any day might bring. I've been doing therapy for a while now. I personally can say that it has helped me a lot, so this is a good idea if you feel like the same. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's convenient. You can join a session with a therapist at the click of a button, helping you fit therapy into your busy life. It's the largest online therapy provider in the world with over 30,000 therapists. BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Unwind from work with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at BetterHelp.com/HTC. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/HTC.
All right, we are back. Oh, we are so back. Training camp is kicked off across the NFL, and let's dig back in now with the contract issues that some teams are facing. Let's start with those Dallas Cowboys. Three-time All-Pro Micah Parsons, or
Michael Parsons,
or that guy, will report to Oxnard for training camp despite not having a long-term contract extension with the team. And here's a little sound, more sound from Jera on Michelle Parsons talking about the quandary the Cowboys, like every year, find themselves in with a star player and money matters.
just because we sign him doesn't mean we're going to have him. He was hurt 6 games last year. Seriously.
Seriously.
We've signed, I remember signing a player for the highest paid at the position in the league, and he got knocked out 2/3 of the year, Dak Prescott.
What are we doing here?
That one eye wasn't even open.
No, I was going to say,
I
I don't, because he's an older man, and I'm not taking a shot at his physical appearance, but is he okay? It looks like one of the eyes was sealed shut.
I think
I'm not even making light of it.
No.
It kind of does tie into the earlier conversation. Is like Jared's getting up there now, but is he okay? Is Jared?
The questions are bubbling up. We've been to that training camp. There's a lot of sun-splashed areas there. Maybe that it was part of it, but I don't see that being the case here. One thing that annoys me, because first of all, you don't need to go down that road with Micah Parsons, who we've seen play through injury and is one of the toughest guys in the league. He played 17 games in back-to-back seasons after playing 16 as a rookie. So why are we dinging him with he's unreliable potentially if I pay him?
It just sounds like a clunky negotiation BS. That you're doing in public. But yeah, so that is happening right now. Yes, Justin.
He also only missed 4 games last year, and Jerry seriously said he missed 6. So whatever.
That's really unfair. You got to be. I mean, I feel like you're being a little hard on Jared now, but like, if you're gonna go on sit at your dais and disparage one of your core players, and then upgrade the amount of games that he missed by 2, I'd be mega pissed.
And he showed up to camp.
That sounds like, by the way, the whole read between the lines, that sounds like a classic Holden situation where Parsons will be there but ain't doing shit until he gets paid. Also, the Cowboys have signed former Browns and Lions defensive end James Houston. They placed cornerback Trayvon Diggs, who's coming off an ACL, and linebacker DeMarvion Overshawn, who had a brutal knee injury last year. They're both going to start training camp on PUP, and rookie cornerback Siobhan Ravel was placed on the NFI list. Okay, in other unhappy pass rusher news, Bengals four-time Pro Bowl defensive end Trey Hendrickson, he's gone home. He went home. He went to Florida. I was in Florida. Holy shit. You have not felt humidity, heat, and pain until you are huffing it across Disney World in the middle of July. And it was great. I was with my family. My parents celebrated their 50th anniversary this year. It was important, I know, to my mom especially, to kind of have this. Yes, give it up for Deb and Keith. To get my boys together. My sister has two girls, to all have this great experience together. But when I left Florida, I said I will never come back here in the summer ever again, unless I am like forced or I'm extradited or something as part of a criminal case. You will not catch me in Florida in July. And that's no shot against Mark. The people of Florida and listeners that might be angry at these comments. This is just facts, man. I'm already there worried about alligator attacks and other things that could happen to me down there because it is Florida after all. But you got to miss me with this heat and sunshine, and I don't know how the Miami Dolphins. It makes so much more sense that the Miami Dolphins are an absolute train wreck at the end of these NFL seasons when these are the conditions they spend most of their time in during an NFL season. Enough. Put a dome over the whole goddamn state and let's just settle it up.
I think also, like, and congrats to your parents, and that's a great reason all to get together. So aside from that, and aside from the personality of people in Florida, which we could have a separate conversation about some of them, I think you're pinpointing the reality that Orlando specifically, when you're a child, it's the home of Disney World, and you're thinking it must be this magical place. I personally have found Orlando to be, and I'll underwhelming, and that's being generous. That it's not like the rich beating heart of Florida. There are better parts of Florida. Orlando is a bit of the pain. A mental pain to me. This
is perhaps all right. Nice takedown of Orlando. It's a nice civic area with a lot of great people. The Magic are a decent basketball team, but we do have a little fortuitous here, Mark, that the man that is synonymous with Orlando. There was a song on the old show called Conor Orrlando Today about when he got snubbed for a Super Bowl trip and was instead sent to the Pro Bowl, which was being held in Orlando at that time. And we learned later, I think years later, in fact, that Conor was so angry about the theme song and that discourse on that particular program that I think he unfollowed us or blocked us all on social media. And that, I mean, that's pre-TNC Conor. That's peak pre-TNC.
Yeah. That was a tough time professionally and personally. But I will say you opted not to take a shot at the people of Florida. I'll go ahead and do it because this isn't really the flex that Trey Hendrickson thinks it is, where it's like, bye guys, I'm going to Florida. I said what I said about Cincinnati. I mean, Florida is so much worse than Ohio. And I don't know if you've ever gone to a Jimmy Buffett concert or, maybe one of these faded acts from the 70s, and you see just these drunk, leather skinned people falling all over the place, and you're like, where do they go? And it's all Florida. That's where they are. They just all somehow fade away and get dropped into this absolute equator hellhole. And so I don't think Trey Hendrickson is making anybody jealous here.
I admire, one of the things I admire about you, Conor, as someone that just spent a lot of time in New Jersey and enjoyed it, obviously. But New Jersey, obviously, maybe unlike any state in the union, has a target on its back for takedowns.
Undeserved.
And the fact that you always come out swinging against other states in the continental U.S., I admire that, because you do leave yourself wide open for people who want to come at you with a snooky takedown or something about the factories that line the turnpike or whatever. You don't care about that. You just come after the states outrageously, and I love it.
And we are. This show seems to have an active rate where every 1.5 episodes, Conor finds a way to disenfranchise himself from parts of Europe, states,
really
cities.
The entirety of Europe at this point.
Yeah, most of Europe. So it's that's who you are, Conor. We love you.
But just think about it logistically, right? Where all the people that you've ever come across who are not smart enough to realize that where they are is absolutely fine. And they're like, when I'm done, I'm going to Florida. And it's like, okay, go. And it's all these people that get down there and realize that being in 100-degree heat and chewed alive by swamp mosquitoes is not the way that you'd want to spend your remaining years in life. I am miserable every second that I am in that state. And I've been to Disney World. I've ridden the 9 3/4 train to Harry Potter. I've drank the butterbeer, and every single second of it, I'm like, when can I get on the damn air-conditioned bus ride to get the out of here?
All right.
It's a dense takedown of by all three of us for various elements.
I'm just saying,
that spun out of control a little bit.
Sorry.
So we're just gonna
We talk football.
Anyway, about Florida, Trey Hendrickson has returned to Florida in July, which is crazy because July in Florida. No, okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It's unclear when or if he'll return to Cincinnati.
He'll be back. Trust me. Yeah.
Mike Brown had this to say: "We operate under a cap system. We've paid out the last couple of years more than the cap. That isn't being cheap." And Jordan Schultz, old former guest on the program and adversary of Rap Sheet, reported that the key issue has been the length of the commitment and the guarantees tied to a potential new deal. Both sides remain stuck. The Bengals want to stick to their structure. Hendrickson wants something that reflects his value. So far, no common ground has been found. Now, listen, Hendrickson deserves it. And he's, I think, right around the same age as TJ Watt. So he wants that contract or $1 more. And he deserves it. But this was the problem. We saw this coming miles away, or you should have, when Joe Burrow, and we'll talk about Burrow at length on Thursday's show when we talk about the quarterback series, but when Joe Burrow used his might within that organization and made sure that he brought back both of his superstar wide receivers, or his one superstar wide receiver and his great second wide receiver, T. Higgins, that was going to cause an issue for this team. And I said it at the time that I thought they should have let T. Higgins walk. And obviously you pay Ja'Marr Chase because he's a top 3 talent at the position. And then you make Trey Hendrickson full, and then you figure it out. They are in a situation now that I understand why Mike Brown is saying this, Connor, because they really did spend up to the edge of the limits here, and they've invested so much in the quarterback and 2 wide receivers. It's a Cowboysian move that now makes it much more difficult to field a balanced roster. And we know, check out how many games that team blew last year on the defensive side of the ball. To disenfranchise your most important player just seems kind of, you were asking for it and now you got it.
I'm never going to side with ownership, although I will say this about the Bengals that I think just gets lost in the shuffle. I think 3 times since Zach Taylor has been there, they have been the first, second, or third team in free agency spending. They have redone this offensive line twice to pacify Burrow after he got shellacked his rookie year. And so all of this does compound to some point where the owner has to throw his hands up. He doesn't have to, but he's going to feel the need to and say, enough. And it sucks when you're the Bengals because now that point is suffocating your entire pass rush, and you have a new defensive coordinator coming in that's trying to get all this organized, and none of your 2 best pass rushers are going to be in camp. Possibly, I mean, I'm optimistic that both of these get done, and I think that eventually, like August 5th, Trey Hendrickson's going to walk in there and everything's going to be fine. But the fact that this is going to be arduous and require every inch of the timetable provided is, like you said, a reflection of prior decisions.
And I think that Mike Brown, like if we just took the name off the person, he is correct, as you pointed out, that the Bengals under Duke Tobin in that front office have been more aggressive, and they have tried to build around Burrow, and they gave Burrow what he said he wanted. But I don't like these situations where they're offering Hendrickson 1 year guaranteed, but he's looking at the other pass rushers in his own division who are centerpieces of that defense getting more guaranteed money over multiple years. Then you get these guys into camp, including a rookie that's never been on an NFL team. In late August or something, the Bengals started 1-4 a year ago. In 2023, they started 1-3. The year before that, 2-3. Slow starts, and so you can't have your most important people jumping on board in late August or early September. It usually leads to disaster or underwhelming results.
I mean, come on. That guy is a franchise staple and a guy who has balled out for years, and you're offering him a deal that has 1 year guaranteed? That's insulting. But
right.
This is the Bengals, and this is why historically they've been an inept organization. And that's not the only Bengals story here. Their first round pick, Shemar Stewart, he's still holding out. He left their rookie camp and has not reported since. And okay, and now here we are as training camp is underway. Their first round pick, by the way, another defensive end, and again, a defense that just ruined their season last year. The tone here around this player is gotten into an ugly place. Duke Tobin says, I think Shemar needs to be here. And Mike Brown, the owner, says the level of negotiations has risen to, quote, silliness. Here's a little more from Brown.
Well, if we get a player who gets involved in something like that, or does something that is just unacceptable, guess what? I don't want to pay him. I really don't. If he's sitting in jail, I don't think I ought to be paying him. And so we say that if he got involved in conduct detrimental, we'd have the right to terminate the guaranteed part for the back years. He says, or his agent says, oh no, you can terminate the guaranteed part only for the remaining part of the year in which the
I got it, Mike.
event
Mike,
occurs.
I got it. I get it. Just figure it out. Christ. I mean, what? I get it. I mean, I understand from the team standpoint. Apparently, the issue is that he wants to be paid even if he's runs into some serious legal trouble. Figure it out. Everybody else figures it out. You should too, Cincinnati. Just figure it out.
1 point defending him and 1 point not. The point defending him, just to put a bow on Trey Hendrickson, right? Trey Hendrickson had 43 sacks over the last 3 seasons, And I think part of the issue for him long term is Danielle Hunter, who had 39 sacks over the last 3 seasons and accepted a 1-year deal worth like $36 million, right? And so I think that is clogging up Trey's market because they're probably looking at them as, okay, similar players. That guy got a 1-year deal, high-end 1-year deal. This is what we want for you. For the Shemar Stewart thing, the whole point of you keeping everything tight and keeping a smaller scouting staff, which they've established, they've since expanded on, is that you know the players more intimately and the coaches know the players more intimately. So just don't draft a guy that's going to go to jail. Like his whole scenario that he's concocted in his head is like, well, what if this guy goes to jail? Draft a guy who's not going to go to jail. Like that you're 100% certain is not going to end up in prison. Like that's it. Problem solved.
Problem solved. All right, let's move on from Cincinnati. I mean, Christ. All right, in other news, blotter. Love that word. B-L-O-T-T-E-R. Blotter.
I don't know if they're still functionally even being used in police stations at this point, or whatever it pointed to. It feels a little old-timey.
Like, speaking of old-timey and things that kind of, you think about the previous decade of NFL football, like something that definitely wouldn't exist today, but did exist back then, was Pro Football Talk's landing page, which is amongst the most trafficked websites in all of the realm of pro football, had a existing sidebar graphic, days since last arrest of NFL player.
Yeah. Very Florio-esque.
Right behind me is a police scanner. I have one up in my
yes.
And it's an active police scanner. Now, all police departments have since gone digital, so you can go on at apps. But there's an analog police scanner behind me, which I love.
We should have that, Justin, something, because we have a new look. It's season 2. Can we just keep at a low volume at all times Connor's police scanner in case it picks up something around the Jets or the Giants or the Eagles, or really anything.
Running A to Z through the show at all times.
Yeah, that sounds like a really good audio distraction, and I don't know if people would like it. Sound off in the comments. Do you want that in the show or not? How about that?
Good, Justin.
Nicely done, Justin. Anyway, blotter, Rashee Rice, Chiefs wide receiver, has pled guilty to third-degree felony charges of collision involving serious bodily injury and racing on a highway causing bodily injury. Idiot. He's sentenced to 5 years probation, 30 days in prison. Don't expect him to serve much time at all. But the NFL now has the ability to suspend him for violating the personal conduct policy. We'll see when that happens, but I would fully expect it to happen. So the Chiefs are probably bracing for to lose him for 2 to 4 games. I would guess. Maybe it's 4 and they get it down to 3 or on appeal or whatever. But he's going to miss time. So fantasy heads plug in on that. And Chiefs, for a team, Mark, that has not an overwhelming number of weapons at their disposal, and Rice, who's coming back from a serious leg injury last year. Yeah, it's a little bit of a complication for this team.
Yeah, I mean, they've done more than maybe some would think at that position over the last couple of years. Like, I wouldn't say they're star-studded, but they're pretty deep. I don't like losing him, though. I mean, even here at camp, in the first couple hours of camp, he was like Mahomes' #1 targeted guy at practice. So it's like they still see him as extremely central. I do think, though, in general, like in the world of football, when we freak out, I get it from a fantasy angle, it's perturbance, but we freak out about these guys that are suspended for like the first 2 or 3 games. But by the time you get to like deep October, November, it feels like ancient history. And so do I think the Chiefs, after all we've said about them, can overcome something like this? Yes, I do.
I believe they will as well. Speaking of fantasy, I got for the first time, really, I think since 2003, which I used the draft pick on Ricky Williams, if I'm not mistaken. That didn't work out too well. Hook 'em horns. Yeah. I have the first overall pick. And
do you like that?
I'm a little bit torn. And if we have listeners that are in my fantasy league, just know that I'm open for business at number 1.
You can trade the pick in your league.
Yes.
That's good.
I'm using this platform to formally open up negotiations on a potential blockbuster trade. So thank you. And now we move on. Jordan Addison has pled guilty to a lesser charge in his DUI case. He'll be placed on probation for 12 months, pay a $390 fine. Just round it up. Just make it 400.
Right.
What the fuck are we doing? Must have been Florida. And complete 2 online courses. He's likely facing a 2 or 3 game suspension now that matter is dissolved. I see you wrote that in the rundown. He's likely facing 2 or 3. Is that just Justin's opinion on this?
Yeah, no.
It's not like sourced or anything, so you just...
Your legal take, yeah.
You just feel that's your take, 2 or 3?
Minnesota beat writers said that, so I'm like, yeah, let's go with it. 2 or 3 sounds cool to me. I don't know.
I thought like DUIs cost like $10,000. They always kind of scare you straight by. So $391 feels like he's getting off light.
Yeah, copied and pasted that from somewhere. I don't know.
But here's how it works, right? He's got a very expensive lawyer.
Well, the lawyer
got that down to $390, but then he owes $10,000 to the lawyer.
Yes. Yep.
So
that's correct.
in society, sometimes you're getting banged no matter what. And hopefully Addison will be more careful.
He played a slight role in that. Sure.
Hey, Boomer, enough with the wallet in your back pocket. What a joke. Clean up your act. Move into the 2020s. Talking to you, Sessler.
Well, I'm on board with your messaging.
Oh, good. Well, to get truly on board, you got to get Ridge. It's unique, slim, modern design, holds up to 12 cards plus cash. No more brick in your back pocket. Over 50 plus colors and styles to choose from. And it gives you peace of mind because you got everything you need. And it has that RFID blocking technology. Keeps you safe from digital pickpocketers. We don't want those people. We hate those people. But my favorite part is the Ridge AirTag attachment because losing your wallet is the worst. I've done it. And the hassle of replacing all your credit cards, driver's license, insurance cards, and whatever else. But with the Ridge AirTag attachment, you'll always know exactly where your wallet is before the panic sets in. No matter what you pick, Ridge has free shipping, a 99-day risk-free trial, and a lifetime warranty of all their products. So for a limited time, our listeners get 10% off at Ridge by using the code HEED, H-E-E-D, at checkout. Just head to ridge.com and use the code HEED, and you're all set. After your purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please tell them it came from the heroes of Heed the Call. And we appreciate you. Ridge, baby. And while we're here, making money move should be easy. That's why there's Cash App. It's fast, safe, and honestly just way more personalized than the other apps out there. No extra hoops to jump through, no extra stress. All the tools are right there to help you cash in. Plus, sending money with the Cash App actually feels safe. They look out for you. If something seems sketchy or they see you might be sending money to a potential scammer, they'll warn you and make sure you think twice before hitting send. Mark, that's especially for older people. That's very good, Mark.
It is good. I see what you're doing there. This product, this Cash App product, it has it all.
Excellent. So, for a limited time only, new Cash App users can use our exclusive code to earn some additional cash for real. There's no catch here. Just download Cash App and sign up. Use our exclusive referral code, Heed the Call, all one word, in your profile. Send $5 to a friend within 14 days, and you'll get $10 dropped right into your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App. All right, we're back. Let's close this out. In random news, Darren Waller has been traded to the Dolphins. What the f***? That guy, Darren Waller, who's probably most famous for being in attendance when Marc Sessler and Dan Hanzus were asked to lead a symposium by NFL media on how to build a successful podcast.
That's right.
But also once upon a time was an all-pro tight end. Got traded to the Giants, did not care. Like the symposium, his dedication at the symposium could be questioned. He seemed to sleep for most of it.
Hot and cold.
His tenure with the Giants, you could probably say the same thing. So Brian Dable and Dan and Mark had a similar effect on Darren Waller and his level of effort. Anyway, but then he retired. This was last year. But then I guess he unretired. And then he got traded by the Giants to the Dolphins for a 7th-round pick. The Dolphins receive a 7th-round pick. The Giants get a conditional 6th-round pick. What are we even doing here, folks?
It's overly
What are we
complex. I'll say one thing
A
quick.
conditional
the Dolphins,
6th for a 7th? We don't need to do this. Don't even file this with the league.
Right.
Just give him, just put him on a plane
Make it a cash
and let's just call it even.
This happened very early in our break. And I was like, oh, this has to be like a story from 4 years ago. Like, they're like, no, this happened today. And it just adds to my feeling that the Dolphins feel to me like they're just sort of drifting into a different dimension this offseason. I don't know what the plan is.
Beating on the show today.
Do you want the 30-second backstory to why they did this? And we will move on.
Beyond
quickly.
the fact that they traded away Jonnu Smith to Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Okay, go.
So when Darren Waller's career got revived in Las Vegas, it was because of then Raiders tight ends coach Frank Smith, who Darren Waller was recovering from his substance abuse issues. Frank Smith actually flew to Darren Waller's parents' house and did a deep download of who he was as a person, basically went on a journalism reporting trip to learn about Darren Waller. Those two are very, very close. Frank Smith is now the offensive coordinator of the Dolphins. They think that they can squeeze a little bit more toothpaste out of this. So that was the idea behind it.
So sort of a Nepo baby scenario.
What? Nepo.
All right. In other weird news, Trump wants the Redskins' name back, ... or else. The president is threatening to hold up a new stadium deal for Washington's NFL team, now called the Commanders, if it does not restore its old name, that is, of course, considered by many to be offensive to Native Americans. This is crazy. I mean, sometimes this stuff just blows my mind. He also talks about the Cleveland Guardians, how they should change their name back. I mean, seems like potentially a classic misdirect if you read about other things in the news.
Yeah.
When in doubt, let's stoke the culture wars and play it that way. But it doesn't seem like it's going to have, despite the power of the sitting president, the DC mayor, Muriel Bowser. Whoa, the DC mayor's name is Bowser. It's got to be a bad guy. Anyway. Even you would get that video game reference, Mark. Super Mario Brothers, 1985 or whatever.
No, I played and watched people play Mario Brothers for many hours back in the day.
I don't know much about DC, local politics. Is he a giant dragon or does he have a huge shell? And can he shoot fire? And does he have spikes and stuff? Tell me more about Muriel Bowser, I guess is what I need.
Justin,
if someone could jump in.
Justin, get on that.
Justin, can you find out if Muriel Bowser is a half dragon, half turtle?
Yes,
did he kidnap the princess?
That person is not. They're just a human being. Sorry.
Yes, he has an unquenchable thirst for the princess's affections. Anyway, he's confident, Bowser, that the Commanders will return to the city. That deal won't be scuttled, despite the president's threats. Scuttled.
You are the ultimate commander, so.
So anyway, that's what he believes, Bowser, that the president can't stand in the way, and do not expect any of these team names to change. But yes, it's a cultural fire starter, and the flames have been stoked for reasons I don't know. But
you nailed it. It's a misdirect. Also, how much time is he spending writing these tweets / missives online that are each about 700 words? 800, 900 words, just going on and on and on. I mean, I know he's got a female aide that he just voices this to, and then she types it out real fast. But these are insane looking public missives. They're
Dude,
insane
save
looking.
it for the next edition of Silver Horses, bro.
I don't touch on that in that publication. I know that's the popular assumption by one person.
It slots in very nicely there, from what I understand.
Great job by the NFL jumping in bed with this, because we only got a year before the draft that we're doing on the White House lawn. So what could go wrong? It's gonna be great.
All right, this feels like a good time to pivot to. Geez, we're here again. I feel like it's an every episode thing. Hit it, Justin.
Good afternoon, and thank you for holding. I have Marc Sessler on the line from Quiet Storm Crisis Management. We're patching Mark through right now.
Hi, this is Mark. I'm still here, apparently.
They just keep you on the line at this point. You just have like you're on like a retainer, like a 24/7, 365 retainer to be ready for the lady. Yes, Justin.
Mark's just walking around with one of those old school Bluetooth earpieces. And he's
Right. It's like a
connected
2007
24/7.
Bluetooth that who's the Jeremy Piven character in Entourage, like the
Ari
Asian
or
assistant
whatever?
he had.
Ari,
Yeah,
yeah.
like,
Gold.
it's like a big old Bluetooth piece.
Yeah, but
he's
Ariel's
got a
getting
holster,
paid
the
well. I
cell
don't know if
phone.
there's no evidence I'm getting paid to do this increasingly volcanic job. But
He's got the cell phone in a holster on the outside of his pants. You know, that's Mark right now.
Listen to Mark. Listen to the producer painting a picture. Oh, baby.
great.
All second-round picks in the NFL have now signed except for one. It is the Browns running back Quinshon Judkins, who was, on a serious note, arrested on a domestic violence and battery charge in, wait for it, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, in early July. The 21-year-old had his initial court appearance this past Sunday, and the details of the case are obviously unsavory, and he is innocent until proven guilty, and all that. But the Browns now have yet another distraction. We now throw it to Mr. Sessler.
Well, thank you for throwing it to me. This is not a particular case that I'm going to make a argument for the player. Let's see how this plays out. They were relying on him in a huge way in a post Nick Chubb world, along with the other rookie they brought in at running back. Like, I think this could be the worst Browns team outside of a couple star players. Like this, they could be the worst team in the league right now. And if you look at, I'll say one thing, because this is not very PR of me. If you look at their situation this season, there's a lot to not like. But if you look at what's
Mark, when are
happening,
you going to understand this bit, by the way? At what
I'm
point
trying
is it
to
going to
lose
lock
this
in
job.
and you're going to get the bit?
I'm effectively
You
trying
are-
to lose this
We
job.
need you to represent the Browns as the PR mouthpiece, and then we can go into the Marc Sessler analysis of the actual situation. Like that's the intention of the bit. I just want to get that out there.
If I were to go from a real PR angle, I would say no further statement at this time, and just let everything
That
just
is
ride
electric.
it. We just ride it out.
Electric comedy from Sessler.
Did you see Poop Cruise on Netflix?
Yes, excellent.
Okay, so they have one of the people that they interview, and for background, there was a cruise that was like in the Gulf of Mexico that got stuck there, and then like rivers of shit just started flowing through the place, and it turned into Lord of the Flies. And they had the Carnival Cruise PR guy on that documentary, and just like the ability for him to just be like, "Yeah, this will blow over," was so incredible. And if he can do it, and certainly Mark can do it too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Now let's transition, Mark, to the non-bit. And you have anything else to add? Yes, the Giant. I feel like the Browns are heading towards. Forget about like a bad season, but like one of those seasons, like one of those
seasons,
1992 Mets type seasons.
Right. Where the only other point I was going to make was that they pushed all this money down the road for Deshaun Watson and others, but in general, like their cap situation next offseason presents immense problems, and they have like 18 players whose contracts are ending. So I just don't see like a light at the end of the tunnel. Hey, it's the year that Peyton Manning was hurt, so let's go 1-15 and draft Andrew Luck. Like that's not where this goes. It goes somewhere darker than that. My belief.
Yeah, I have some running back options for you. My first choice would have been Nick Chubb, actually, literally Nick
Sure.
Chubb. But how about Kenny Pickett? How about this poor Dylan Gabriel fellow?
As our running back. Well, that may be becoming a possibility, and
How
not
about
our running back.
Rehabbing Deshaun Watson in like a tush push scenario? He just has to push off the other leg.
No, I'd stop following sports
Joe Flacco, he's big, might be hard to bring down.
like that.
We have a lot
Not
of different
very mobile.
quarterbacks that we can just slide them over.
I'd
All right,
just go hire a big fatty, like the fattest person I can find to play running back.
Get the refrigerator back. Is he still with us? Is his fridge still with us?
I believe he is.
Did we lose the fridge? Shit. Justin looking it up.
Live and well, 62
Yes!
years old.
What? Sign him, baby. Bring him in. 30
I
short,
thought there
baby.
was
Let's
no
move the
shot.
chains.
Good for him.
All right, 8 o'clock delight. Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson, this is good news for Colts fans, maybe, will not start training camp on the PUP list and is trending toward, quote, being a full go with no restrictions. So let's pump the brakes on the Danny Dimes as starter, potentially in Indianapolis. As the Bills report to camp, sources say that James Cook will be there, but we'll see if it is a hold-in. He wants his money after a 23-touchdown season. The Commanders bring in veteran Von Miller, 1 year, $6.1 million. Von Miller was pretty much invisible last year in Buffalo, but maybe he could still play the guitar in Washington. Buccaneers offensive tackle Tristan Wirfs likely to open the season on the PUP list after undergoing knee surgery. Per Shefty, he couldn't miss the first 4 games. How big a deal is that for Tampa Bay, Connor?
I mean, it's a huge deal. The way that everything's kind of predicated on the run game, you're breaking in another new offensive coordinator for Baker Mayfield. And this staff kind of keeps getting gutted and having to reformulate. So a lot on Todd Bowles' plate right now.
I will say one quick thing. Bowles had some interesting quotes where he suggested that Wirfs would be back sooner than expected.
All right,
so,
good.
TBD.
All right. Also, hoping he's back sooner than expected, Chargers running back Najee Harris, who sustained, here we go again, an eye injury after a fireworks mishap. He'll start training camp on the NFI list. And by the way, go check in with Jason Pierre-Paul. Ask him if we should be using fireworks, especially if we're millionaire football players in our 20s. Lions defensive tackle Levi Onwuzurike has underwent ACL surgery. He'll miss the entire 2025 season, so the Lions hope that's not a sign of things to come after their defense was massacred by injuries last year. Oh, this is a bummer. Let's bring in Gravedigger. Titans backup. Will Levis will undergo shoulder surgery and miss the entire 2025 NFL season. No memes. The NFL just got a lot less fun in 2025. Why are we even doing this?
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't going to play anyway, barring massive catastrophe. Titans were probably going to try to trade him at the end of training camp anyway. Weird decision on his part, though. Apparently, my sources telling me the Titans didn't necessarily want him to do this, but he did it anyway.
Hell yeah.
Oh, get the surgery. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
like they didn't necessarily believe
move.
It was serious enough to require.
They should just do the Giants-Dolphins trade I had. Just get him a bus ticket and send him somewhere. Handshake.
Cleveland.
He gone. Yeah, send him to Cleveland. Be a running back.
QB.
All right, let's see. Also, tight ends release tight end. Also, elsewhere, Seahawks release tight end Noah Fant. He was guaranteed $8.5 million. He was a part of that Russell Wilson trade once upon a time. Read Conor Orr's Russell Wilson profile. Maybe we'll get into that later this week. Bucs wide receiver Chris Godwin is still recovering from a dislocated ankle. Will not participate in team-related activities to begin training camp. He will instead be rehabbing with trainers. We'll see if Godwin is able to start the season on time. Bears GM Ryan Poles signs a multi-year contract extension that keeps him in Chicago through 2029. I would have waited. I'd see how this Bears season went, personally. But, hey, listen, that's the decision they make. The Niners have an issue with Juwan Jenkins, who wants a new contract, or trade me. Terry McLaurin also wants a new contract, but he's not saying trade me to Washington. They should pay Terry. Juwan, I would probably hold off. Steelers GM Omar Khan signed a 3-year extension with Pittsburgh. I'd wait there, too. I'd hold off on that as well, but that's just me. And finally, Chargers news. Mike Williams. Remember Mike Williams? He signed back with the Chargers, and there was some talk that he was going to be a nice lift for Justin Herbert as a deep threat. No, he now retired, so that's over. He's not playing the guitar. The guitar has been put down permanently, and so too has the guitar been put into the case and into the closet officially. What? For Phillip Rivers, who, Mark, he is now officially retired. Final thoughts.
I mean, that's just like, I'm like, he already didn't retire like 2 years ago at this point, but I get it's just your filing paperwork. It's that time of year. You probably go do one of these frilly, press conferences with the team, and then they write it up and they have a big gala and everyone has a nice time.
You're going back to high school and like none of your teachers are there. Like you're retiring as a Charger, and Jim Harbaugh doesn't know anything about this person. It's a different facility. It's largely all the beat reporters have moved on and changed hands because, it's hard to be a beat reporter for that team because there are no fans, so no one reads their articles. And so it's, I don't know who's there celebrating this with him.
I don't think he's particularly tight with ownership either. So it is an empty cupboard.
Well, but you got to look at it from a bigger picture. Like the press conference, it will be filled just with his children. I mean, so he's like way ahead of the game in terms of just bodies by getting the Rivers fam in there.
Phil Rowe, yeah.
And he could pump out a couple kids between now and the press conference for all we know. I mean, I think there's things happening in that family about the gestation period of a child in the womb that's even advanced. And probably should be the subject of a Netflix documentary as well. I mean, if we're doing Poop Cruise, we should probably talk about Philip Rivers' wife at some point.
Cruise. You can actually, not to plug this, but on the MMQE podcast this week, we did a deep dive on, he has a grandchild that is the same age as his youngest child, Philip Rivers.
See, I'm not a math guy, but that seems actually impossible. So there has to be some gestation trickery going on in the Rivers family.
Did you say a grandchild or a grown child?
He has a grandchild that is the same age as his youngest child. So
Impossible.
Need to see proof.
I want a documentary, and I want a full study. I want a DNA test. I want it all. All right. Good. We're back. It's good to be back. Thank you, everybody, for rejoining us. And we'll have another show coming up in just a couple days. And like I said, while you're there, until then, check out the Conor Orr profile on Russell Wilson, which I will acknowledge I have not gotten to yet, Conor. But I know you had teased it during its gestation process. And I'm looking forward to it. So we're going to talk about that on Thursday. We're going to talk about the Netflix series Quarterback and all the other things that are going on in NFL in this first week of training camp. Mark, you say the final words.
It is a thrill to be back here. I cannot wait to read this Russell Wilson piece. I've been saving it like a piece of cake in the fridge for a special time. So let's dig on into it. Next show. It's great to be back.
You're a real piece of cake, Sessler. All right, till next time. Heed the call.
A man's man got a mortgage, drinks the brown stuff and rakes up his spoilage. An ex-beat man turned my not state valet.
Pretty good.
Got Super Bowl snub, so it's Conor Orrlando today. He got Super Bowl snub, so it's Conor Orrlando today.
Super Bowl snub.
That's
all right. Are you kidding me?
I don't know what would have raised Conor's ire there in that situation.
All I can think of is me screaming at like whoever my boss was at the time about not getting sent to the Super Bowl.
All right.
Forgot those lyrics.